Today, billionaire Bill Ackman reveals which company he wants to spend his blank check on. Investors gave Ackman $4 billion to spend as he pleased. Are we in a housing bubble? Record high prices and record low inventory make it look that way, but we talked to a top developer. And boat sales and rentals are through the roof heading into the summer. We hear from the owner of a luxury boat rental company on why he thinks that is. That and much more coming up at NTD Business. Good evening. Great to have you with us. We've all been waiting to hear which company billionaire investor Bill Ackman would choose for his blank check company, or SPAC. Now we know he wants to buy 10% of Universal Music Group. It's the world's largest music company alongside Sony BMG and Warner Music Group. Here's what he wants to do.
Bill Ackman's blank check company, Pershing Square Tontine Holdings, wants to buy 10% of Universal Music Group for around $4 billion. In a news release, Ackman calls the group one of the greatest businesses in the world, also saying it has one of the most outstanding management teams he has ever encountered.
So content is what everyone's looking for. Video content, music content, whatever it may be. There's limited content, and especially limited quality content. So I think what we're seeing is a land grab.
Ackman points to the irreplaceable owned IP and predictable recurring revenue streams, adding that everyone loves music.
At the end of the day, there are only going to be so many, a limited number of content providers, and they're going to monopolize all the quality content.
French media firm Vivendi currently owns 80% of Universal Music Group, and Chinese tech firm Tencent owns 20%. Vivendi plans on listing Universal Music Group on Euronext Amsterdam Stock Exchange in the third quarter of 2021. Don Ma, NTD News.
Apple is updating its iPad line after a remarkable year of sales. It sold 80% more tablets than the year before. Apparently, people were looking for ways to stay entertained during lockdowns. The next iPad Pro could have a glass back for wireless charging. That could allow it to charge your other Apple products too. The iPad mini might also be redesigned. Screen borders could shrink and the home button could possibly disappear, according to Bloomberg. Apple's new regular iPad could be even slimmer. Both of those tablets could be released by the end of this year, but you might have to wait till 2022 for the new iPad Pro. And how would you like to get from New Jersey to London in just 3.5 hours? You could go shopping on the high street for the day. United Airlines is planning to bring back supersonic flights. It just agreed to buy 15 new high-speed jets. Here's NTD's Evelyn Lee with more.
United Airlines says it will buy 15 supersonic jets from the company Boom Supersonic. And depending on Boom's ability to meet United's safety, operating, and sustainability requirements, United might increase the order to 50 jets. If the jets pass inspection, United is planning to transport passengers in them by 2029. These planes are able to travel at twice the speed of modern airliners. That means passengers can get from Newark to London in just 3.5 hours, a route that normally takes 6.5 hours. Boom estimates tickets will cost $5,000 per seat, but United said it's too early to set ticket prices. If the airline follows through, this could be the first commercial supersonic flight since the retirement of the Concorde 18 years ago. The Concorde was ultimately grounded because of its inefficiency. Supersonics came under criticism from environmentalists for burning too much fuel. But United has pledged to reach net zero emissions by 2050. And according to Boom, its aircraft would fly on 100% sustainable aviation fuel. Evelyn Lee, NTD News.
And is Facebook using its advertisers' data against them? Regulators in the UK and EU want to know if the platform is abusing its dominant position in the social media space to grow its advertising and dating services. NTD's Patrick Hayden has the story.
Both European and British regulators on Friday opened separate Facebook investigations.
Today we have opened a formal antitrust investigation to assess whether Facebook has violated EU competition rules by using advertising data gathered from advertisers in order to compete with them in the markets where Facebook is active, such as classified ads.
The UK regulator says it's looking into whether Facebook gained data from its advertising and Facebook login. then used it to benefit its own buying platform and dating service. It marks a rare coordinated probe into the social media giant. There is also a second part of the EU investigation. This will assess whether Facebook ties its classified ad services to its social networks. The EU investigation is the latest salvo to rein in big tech. It highlights their long-standing concern of data misuse. Facebook told NTD that its marketplace and dating offer a choice in a highly competitive market. It says the case is without merit. Patrick Hayden, NTD News, London.
US stocks climbed on Friday, led by technology shares. The Dow rose nearly 180 points, over 0.5%. SP 500 gained 37 points, about 0.9%. The Nasdaq today added 200 points, about 1.5%. Besides those, tech stocks, communications and healthcare sectors also made solid gains. Banks lagged the market, though, as bond yields edged lower. A lukewarm jobs report eased concerns that investors that the Fed might pull back the monetary support stimulus soon. More details on those job numbers in just a moment. Gold up 1% today. Oil also gained. Tesla boss Elon Musk was at it again today. Bitcoin slipped 5% after Musk fired off tweets that seemed to lament breaking up with the cryptocurrency. The price fell after he posted hashtag Bitcoin, a broken heart emoji, and a picture of a couple discussing a breakup. Musk has said Tesla wouldn't sell any of its Bitcoin, but it seems his tweets were enough to unsettle the markets. Some in the space, though, just accused Musk of trolling the community or just trying to provoke a reaction. But despite the tumble, Bitcoin is still nearly up 6% over the past few days and is on course for its best week in about a month. Houses have never been more expensive. They're up 20% in just 1 year. Lower mortgage rates have, of course, given people more purchasing power, naturally pushing prices up. But low inventory could be an even bigger factor. There are 20% fewer homes on the market than this time last year. Why? As property developer Ken McElroy, he's invested over $750 million in real estate and currently has over $1 billion of assets under his management. I asked him if high raw material costs like expensive lumber are discouraging developers from building.
Well, there is a massive shortage of housing, and that's been going on for a while if you just look at the math behind it all. So we've always been, believe it or not, in a shortage. And so what's happened is these supply chains have been constrained. And so we're building right now, and we have one project where our framing and lumber is $1 million higher than our budget. Just lumber. And so, you know, the builders have to take a look at that. So what we're seeing on the residential side is, you know, the cost of a home can be $30,000, $40,000 higher than it was when they started it, you know, right now. And we're seeing appliance problems. We can't get paint, you know, so there's all these things. And so I think builders want to build because that's how they make money. But the materials that make up the home, they're not able to, you know, commit to a price to the homeowner, which is partially why we're starting to see these rise in prices. Obviously, we have a supply issue, you know, because of the pandemic, but we also, and we have forbearance as well, you know, on the top of all of this. But then we also have these supply issues. So all of those things are like the perfect storm for rising prices and low inventory.
And as a builder, does it make you reluctant to commit? You know, you're thinking, wow, look how expensive it is to build this house, say 6 months, 9 months, 12 months time when I have it sold. Maybe the prices won't be so high. Does it make you reluctant?
Oh, for sure. And that's on anything in the future. So, you know, we have several land deals that we already own that we're looking at building on. And the problem that we have is that the builder, you know, the subcontractors have to give us a price, and then we have to put all of that into a spreadsheet, and then we give that to the bank, and then we get a loan. Well, the builder, you know, the subcontractors, they don't want to give you the fixed prices, so we don't have anything to give to the bank. They don't want, you know, so there's this kind of, you know, gray area right now, and we have to have those numbers in order to build. So right now, it's just going to create a further shortage.
With lots of people calling the housing market a bubble, I'd like to get your thoughts on it. If it is a bubble, what do you think we might see prices fall to in the future?
Well, I just want to remind you, back I went through this in the 2000s, and in 2006, 7, 8, when things started to unravel, then it took 6 years to bottom out. So, the housing market, I do believe, is a bubble. Obviously, you can't have the lowest inventory ever, the highest prices ever. You got five people bidding on every home. You got an average selling of 17 days right now. It's crazy. So, all of that, and now we're starting to see affordability issues. And so I do believe we're in a bubble, but what's going to happen next is we're going to start to see the elimination of this forbearance issue, which is at the end of June. And of course, they're sprinkling it out through the year, but then the eviction moratorium as well. We're going to see that. And hopefully at the end of June, and and so you've got millions and millions and millions of people that are sitting in places that haven't paid their landlords, and so all of that, we're going to have a really rough second half of the year, I believe, and that's going to be more inventory, Paul, and that inventory is going to be a supply issue, which should make prices go down, but it'll take a long time.
Ken McElroy, MC Companies. So you can't find a home, can't find a boat either. Some boat dealers are sold out as Americans snap them up like they're going out of style. Don't worry if you can't buy one, just rent one. NTD's Phil Zoe has what you need to know.
Boat rentals are up, boat sales are up as well. Instead of social distancing, people are doing some nautical distancing.
Boat sales hit a 13-year high in 2020. Reporting $47 billion in sales between boats, marine products, and services.
The vaccination's out and things are reopening. I think it's going to be the best season ever.
Even rentals are picking up. Get My Boat rental marketplace expects 1 million rentals this year.
You couldn't go on a vacation anywhere, so they would rent a private yacht. We'd provide them with a private chef, and they would spend an afternoon out on the boat or sometimes a full day out on the boat.
Bella Charters and Freedom Luxury represents over 70 boats from private yachts to party boats between the New York and New Jersey harbor. They're getting up to 300 calls a week just for rentals.
I think it's a growing business. I think it's a very popular business, and I think it's actually going to continue to grow in the next few years. I think it's going to keep expanding.
And what are you going to do to expand?
We're going to keep adding boats to our fleet and trying to provide outstanding service to our customers.
If you're looking to set sail, Captain Paul recommends booking 3 weeks in advance. The earlier, the better.
So, you don't want to miss this boat. Make a decision fast. Hop on, join us on this beautiful voyage into the bright future.
Phil Zoe, NTD News, New York.
It's a bright future, but a disappointing jobs number today. The Labor Department says 559,000 jobs were added back to the economy in May, but that's significantly less than economists predicted. The unemployment rate still fell to 5.8%, but that was partly because people aren't returning to the workforce fast enough. The Labor Department is in a unique spot. Millions of Americans without jobs, but businesses still can't find workers. Some critics blame expanded federal jobless benefits created to help people through the pandemic. Some states are now moving to end that aid. But whether that would spur a jump in job applicants remains to be seen. Not everyone's happy about USPS's proposed price hikes. A group of companies wants Congress to do a new review before the hikes actually take effect. The group includes the National Newspaper Association, the Envelope Manufacturers Association, and the Greeting Card Association. USPS says the price hikes are needed because mail volume has declined over the last decade. It says it will still have some of the lowest letter mail postage rates in the industrialized world. But the coalition says that the increases of this magnitude are fundamentally unaffordable. Prices could go up by about 7%. House Democrats have a new transportation bill out today that would authorize $500 billion over the next 5 years. Here's more on what it would cover and what Republicans have to say about it.
House Democrats have introduced legislation to authorize $547 billion in additional spending on surface transport over the next 5 years. The climate-focused proposal includes major funding increases for passenger rail, public transit, and carbon reduction. It proposes $343 billion for roads, bridges, and safety. That includes $4 billion for electric vehicle charging infrastructure, $8 billion for carbon reduction, and $6 billion for climate change mitigation and resiliency. The plan also proposes $109 billion for transit, including for zero-emission transit vehicles, and $95 billion for passenger and freight rail, including $32 billion for Amtrak. Transportation and Infrastructure Committee Chairman Peter DeFazio, a Democrat, called the proposal a once-in-a-generation opportunity to move our transportation planning out of the 1950s and toward our clean energy future. House Republicans criticized the Democrats' proposal. They called it a wasteful and partisan effort that doubles down on the same mandates and restrictive policies that Democrats proposed in a similar measure last year. It failed over Republican objections. Republicans said the bill is a move farther to the left to appease the most progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Don Ma, NTD News.
Still to come this evening. Do you think wine tasting is an art or a science? Well, one California startup is using a very scientific approach, using AI to analyze wine flavors. And New York City nightlife starts to return. Waitstaff, DJs, and event planners all discuss the rough year they've had and try to start the party again. And more after this short break.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Dollar store chains are starting to offer fresh food at some locations. Follows years of criticism that they don't provide consumers with enough healthy options. Family Dollar has begun selling apples, oranges, onions, potatoes, even other fruit and vegetables at roughly 100 of its more than 7,000 stores. The company is also selling frozen poultry, pork, and beef. As for Dollar General, it now offers produce at more than 1,300 locations. Last week, the company said it intends to put produce departments in 1,000 additional stores later this year. Peloton is introducing pricing tiers for its app that will give students, healthcare workers, and military members major discounts. It's the company's latest effort to broaden its user base. The app, featuring thousands of instructor-led fitness classes, normally costs $12.99 a month, But students will now pay $6.99, teachers, healthcare workers, and first responders will be charged $9.99, and military members and their families can pay $9.99 rate that's locked in for life. The digital-only memberships don't offer classes that don't require Peloton's treadmills or stationary bikes. They've grown to nearly 900,000 subscribers. It's been a rough year for the leisure and hospitality industries, and after the pandemic forced hotels, restaurants, and bars to adapt, now New York's party is almost back there. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the story.
23-year-old waitress Taylor Cross is finally back to full-time work, hired by the Harbor New York City Club. Her new job comes after months of dealing with part-time because of the pandemic. The Chic Lounge opened for brunch on May 15th.
It was super difficult, so I actually graduated into this pandemic as of last May, so just coming into no job market was probably such a huge disappointment and definitely challenging to, get used to.
According to the Labor Department, almost half of the jobs lost in the U.S. since February of 2020 were in the leisure and hospitality business. The sector has also been the biggest recipient of unemployment benefits.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't want to come back because of unemployment, but however, it's going to run out. I feel like we're going to make what we make in a week in unemployment in a day or two here.
John Paul Pezzo, a program director at Harbor New York City, says they're facing a shortage of workers as well.
Another big challenge is finding staff. As much as the stimulus money and all the extra federal unemployment is needed, like that's a lifesaver for many, it's now blowing back and hurting us because a lot of people are just like, why work?
To make ends meet, some venue workers like DJ Wonder switched to other careers. He started helping other DJs stream their performances and marketing for them. Madison Back runs the 4 a.m. company, which supplies DJs and producers for live events. She said she lost most of her clients in March last year, but she managed to keep her staff on board and stay afloat by gearing her company toward online events.
The hardest part right now is we're still in this period of sort of a bit of unknown. I think I speak for a lot of industry professionals when I say that we all have quite a bit of PTSD from the past 15 months.
But Back also sees a lot of positive changes in the industry and says everyone is helping each other out to get back to throwing spectacular parties. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
You might call it the intersection of California's wine country and Silicon Valley. The Golden State tech startup is taking artificial intelligence to a very fancy level, teaching a computer to taste wine. The idea is to help winemakers improve their products and attract new customers. The company is called Tastery. The founder says the AI analyzes tens of thousands of wines a year. She says she got the idea when she was a chemistry student working at a winery. And California's Disneyland has an all-new Avengers campus. It'll be open to the public on Friday. Here's NTD's Eiling Ang with more details.
Spider-Man will fly high above Disneyland Resort's newly redesigned Avengers campus in California when it starts welcoming the public on Friday. Action heroes will be seen tumbling through the air as guests below meet Iron Man, Black Panther, and other Marvel superheroes on the 6-acre campus. Highlights include an aerial Spider-Man robot that performs somersaults while flying 60 feet in the air.
Here at Avengers Campus, you're going to experience more heroes in one location than any other place in this universe. We have experiences where you're going to get to see Spider-Man climb up a wall, crawl across the rooftops. He's going to soar high above the campus. And then over here at the Avengers headquarters, you're going to see Black Widow and Black Panther square off against bad guys all day long.
Guests can also ride a Spider-Man attraction called Web Slingers, where they team with the character to battle out-of-control spider bots. Physical sets and virtual environments will blend to make the visitors feel like they are slinging webs, just like the character, designers said.
Well, I think the great thing is it's a living place. You never know when the next hero will appear. And so every time you come back into this land, you potentially could see something new, a new experience, a new character, a new hero. So that's what's really great. It's that dynamic feeling that it's always changing, always evolving.
Food options for the new campus include a cart offering shawarma, mini pasta, impossible meatballs, soda, and more. The Disneyland Resort reopened to the public on April 30th after being closed for more than a year due to the pandemic. As part of the ongoing safety measures, Disneyland is accepting guests only from California until June 15th. Afterwards, it will start allowing visitors from other states. Guests are currently required to wear face masks. Eileen Ng, NTD News, California.
That's the latest business updates for today. You can still catch NTD Evening News with Stephanie Cox. It starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, that's all for this week. Thank you for watching. We'll see you Monday.
We have a new channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube at NTD News. Get the highlights of our news broadcast and the most important headlines that we curate especially for you.
Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.